We are the higher self of the One, known to this instrument in a language system terms as Lemuel, Raoul, Casas, whose incarnation cycle has started on the timeline of 1968. And we greet you, beloveds, in love and light of the One Infinite Creator, the entity known as Lemuel Raoul Casas must remember that we are now going to address the queries which have been placed today. However, the entity must remember to only trust its inner heart and to let go of those thoughts which do not resonate. The entity known as Lemuel Raoul Casas wants to understand information related with the queries which have been presented today. Furthermore, the queries which are primarily related with what planet does it belong its origins in. We must state that the entity's origin in one timeline occurred in the planet of Sirius A, wherein the entity started to learn many lessons of first density aspect of beingness as water element and first density elemental entities in that time. Further, this entity must realize that its galactic family includes the so-called Sirians primarily, since its originations began in the Sirius planetary sphere. Further, the entity known as Lemuel Raoul Casas also wants to understand information related with the understanding of the aspects as known by your people as is it a wanderer or a light worker? We must state that this entity in this timeline is primarily a light worker and a starseed from a higher level of vibration with a greater ability of guiding other entities in this time and has the ability of providing information and guidance within the aspects of the inner working of the self, which will allow the entity the reality of understanding the true nature of the self. Furthermore, the entity must also remember that the aspects of its inner reality will allow the entity in this timeline to spend its incarnation as a light grid if it decides to choose the vibration of love. And once the entity is able to stabilize in the vibration of love, it can affect other people at this time, leading to a higher level of vibrational nature of reality. Furthermore, the entity known as Lemuel Raoul Casas is already in its pathway of attaining the path of love. This entity also wants to understand, is it part of the 144,000 souls? We must state that the answer is affirmative, as the entity in this timeline is in essence a part of the 144,000 souls who have incarnated as starseeds in this time to assist the planetary vibration in ascension and to allow the planet to cycle properly into the vibration of love and compassion. Furthermore, this entity also must realize that the other query which has been placed today primarily pertains to, did it have a walk-in at this present time space? We must state that we cannot ascertain whether the entity has had such a walk-in, as the information is in a way an infringement to the entity's free will. This entity did not have such a walk-in in this time, as we can sense in this timeline. Furthermore, the other query which the entity wants to understand primarily has been related with the experience of best place to retire and at when and what age We must state that this depends upon its own free will and inner choices, as it can decide to retire at any age it sees fit. The other query relates with the aspects of its past timeline. We are going to address one timeline only of its past incarnation. Prior to the incarnation cycle, the entity was found in the timeline of 1878 and was known by the name of Sahati. In the lands as referred to by your people in your language terms as India, the entity's main lesson to be learned in that timeline was to understand how it could use the nature of balancing its inner self and learning the lessons of trying to experience a greater vibrational level of consciousness. Furthermore, this entity in that timeline also learned many lessons in this space and time experience, and the entity then, after having learned many lessons in that vibration timeline, was able to learn the lessons of how to let go of its emotional imbalances. However, it was not able to let go of such types of emotional imbalance many a times, which then led the entity to realign into the vibrational state of consciousness. Therefore, the entity, furthermore, must also remember that the queries which have been placed today relates with its past timeline as it crossed over in the time of 1966. Prior to that, it was found in the lands of 1732 timeline in lands of England and was known by the name of Charlie. It spent its incarnation primarily learning the lessons as an actor, pursuing the art of acting, and it spent a major portion of its timeline learning to become a successful actor in that level of vibration. However, it was not able to fully learn the lessons in that time, and this furthermore gave the entity the experience of inner nature of reality. This entity, known as Lemuel Raul Casas, then, prior to the experience in the timeline, was also found in the space and time after crossing over on 1811 in the time of the lands of Netherlands and was known by the name of Derek. In the time of 1607, it was able to focus upon learning how to use language to interact with other entities. As this incarnation was primarily a great incarnation teaching the entity how to use language to protect itself from a inner vibration at that time, and this led the entity to slowly and steadily cross over after learning many lessons, and the entity prior to the incarnation was then, after crossing over on 1669, was found in the lands of Lemuria, wherein it spent around 7 incarnations becoming more and more self-aware. And the entity then, after learning those lessons, was also found in the timeline of prior to the incarnation as known by people in your language terms as the lands of its origin in the planet of Sirius A, wherein it spent learning the lessons of beginning, first density lessons, and the lessons of second density consciousness at that time. Hence, we as the higher self of the entity are always guiding it. And we leave you, beloveds, in love and light of the one Creator. Go forth rejoicing in power and peace. Bye.